What is the best lie you have ever told your child? 1. My wife left, with the children, in May 2013. At the time the children were 9, boy, and 7, girl. The only person who wasn't heartbroken was my wife. Even the spiders cried. A few months after leaving, the children were staying with me for the weekend. Their mom had gone away for the weekend with the guy she left me for. I felt like shit but struggled, as always, to stay upbeat whenever the kids were around. This particular night, the kids heard me crying in my room and my daughter came through with her Snoopy dog. "Are you okay, Daddy?" "Yeah. Sure, I'm okay. I'm fine. Snoopy wants to give you a hug," she said. My boy came in soon after. "Are you okay, Dad?" "I'm fine, son. I'm okay." There's a pause. "Why were you crying, Daddy? Is it because Mummy's gone away with him?" "What? Oh, no. It was happy tears. Because you two are here and because Mummy's having lots of fun, which means I don't have to share you tomorrow." Big smiles all round. Lots of cuddles. And, right then, I knew nothing at all mattered other than protecting these beautiful children. At a later date, when the pain wasn't as raw, I explained my true feelings to them. I don't particularly like having to tell them lies, but at that moment in time, it was the best course of action. 2. When my son was about 2 years old, I noticed that his diapers were dry for long periods of time. I asked him if he would like underwear instead of diapers and he said he would. I told him he would have to tell me when he had to go to the bathroom and he agreed he would and he did. However, once a day he would demand a diaper from me. I'd put it on, he'd go behind the couch, do his business, and then he'd go back to underwear. Every day I'd try to get him to have a bowel movement in the toilet, and every day he refused. He actually screamed at me one day, "Give me a diaper now." This went on for month after month after month. Finally one day I took a doll that his grandmother had given him, pulled down its pants and sat it on the toilet after having surreptitiously thrown some small dried berries in the bowl. I asked him, "Jeremy can go on the toilet, why can't you?" He looked astonished. From then on he'd use the toilet without a fuss. 3. When my daughter was about 5, and I was a young single mom, she really wanted to go on a vacation. It was a really big deal for her. She wanted to pack a little suitcase and go somewhere. I had very little money and a demanding job, and there really wasn't a way for me to pull a vacation off. We lived about an hour drive from the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk, so I decided to take her there, but if I took her home at the end of the day it wouldn't be the vacation she was dreaming of. I got her up early in the morning and put her in the car, and, true to form, she fell asleep in the car shortly after we took off. I took my time getting there. Once we got there, I woke her up and made a lot of noise about how she slept the whole way there and missed the long, boring ride. We found a cheap motel that amazingly had a room and were able to check in, where she determinedly unpacked her suitcase and put all her clothes into the chest of drawers. We were able to stay at the motel 2 nights and 3 days, so from her point of view it became that big away vacation she had wanted. But she never knew we were only an hour away from home. She fell asleep as soon as we hit the road on the way back and I was able to pull the same stunt, so my secret was safe for years. 4. When my due date was getting very close, I told my 3.5-year-old daughter that her little brother is afraid to come out of my belly. He thinks to himself, "Oh, it's a big scary world out there. Who knows what is awaiting for me outside. I'm just a little baby boy. I don't want to go out and live with big grown-up people all by myself. Who will understand me and help me when I'm outside? Oh, how I wish there was a little girl out there who would be my sister, so we can grow up together." She was deeply moved when she heard this. She put her little hand gently on my belly, and whispered to her brother with a voice filled with tenderness, "Come out, little brother. I am your sister M, and I will always take care of you. You don't have to be afraid." Few days after this, her brother came, and the love and connection that the two of them have is something I, as an only child, never imagined could exist. The way they cherish one another, help, encourage and comfort along the way is truly amazing. 5. My son was 3. Bedtime was 7:30, and he did not like that. It was a battle getting him to bed, even when he was exhausted. He didn't want to miss anything. So I bought a timer for the living room light. It was fall, so it was dusky in the evening, and I set the timer for 7:30. At about 7:15, I started making the time for bed conversation we had every night, and he, as usual, protested. I told him fine, he could stay up a bit longer. We started a game of Go Fish, and then the light went out. "Mommy? Oh, dear." The light turned off. We stayed up too late. "Oh," and he headed up to get ready for bed. It never occurred to him that I could just turn the light back on. It seemed perfectly logical to him. The light went off. It's time for bed. 6. My 2-year-old daughter doesn't like being kissed on cheeks after she is all ready and dressed up. She starts resisting and cries eventually, and I can't resist myself from kissing her, as she looks damn cute. So, we came up with an idea. Each time she cries after a peck on cheek, I apologize to her and say, "Okay, let me take it back," and then I kiss her again. She thinks that I have taken back the kiss and resumes her smile. Win-win for both of us. Only for me once she knows the truth. 7. This is not my lie, either as a parent or a child, but it is quite one of the funniest things I've ever heard, and my friends tell me it's one of the most useful things I've ever told them. A single mother with 3 children, 12, 10 and 9, had planned the summer holiday and told her children the date they were leaving. She also told them she very much hoped they were all old enough to have learned by now that all that squabbling and fighting in the back of the car just wasn't good enough and they would have to stop, because the previous 2 years had, quite literally, been hell on wheels. A few days before departure date, everyone was very excited, Getting things together and packing, and on the Saturday morning that they were due to leave everything went smoothly. They all piled into the car and set off for their 5-hour drive. Sure enough, after 15 minutes the first squabble began. Mom said, "If you don't settle down, I'm going to turn the car round and we'll go home." Everyone settled down for 20 minutes, and then they started again, a major argument about a book that two of them wanted to read. Mother, increasingly frustrated, told them she was giving them a final warning. Quiet again, and this time for 30 minutes before everything erupted again. Without a word, Mom turned the car around and headed for home. The children at first didn't notice, and then became increasingly quiet as they realized what was happening. In absolute silence, the car was unpacked and everyone just carried on with their normal weekend. The aborted holiday was never mentioned by anyone. The next week passed without event until the following Saturday morning when, having quietly packed overnight, Mom loaded up the car and the children to go on holiday, on the date that she had originally booked. The 5-hour journey passed extremely happily and quietly. Clever lady.